Team to the CNMI where Thomas Manglona is standing by.
Hi, Tomas.
Good morning, Tomas.
Good morning, Chris and Bree. How are you doing?
We're doing pretty good. We do have some questions for you, but let's go ahead and take care of business now with the latest from the COVID-19 response in the Northern Marianas Islands. He is our correspondent in the CNMI, Thomas Manglona. Good morning, Tomas.
Good morning. Here's the latest on containing COVID-19 in the Northern Marianas. The CNMI's 4-day fiscal response summit came to a close yesterday. Representatives from all three branches of government convened to face the challenges of the CNMI's fiscal crisis impacted by the coronavirus. Here's a part of the NMI Governor Ralph Torres' closing remarks for the community.
But at the end of the day, what is the most critical part is how do we move forward? And having Team A and both teams address the same issues, and how do we get to where we need to be, and the actions that we. But at the end of the day, what is the most critical part is how do we move forward? And having Team A and both teams address the same issues, and how do we get to where we need to be, and the actions that we need to move forward in making those decisions. A lot of these decisions, again, we acknowledge that it's not easy, but a decision that needs to be made. So where do we go from here? What I like to ask is, there's a lot of legislation that needs to be done. I want to continue to work with our Speaker in the House, as well as Senate President in the Senate, as well as our judicial branch. We have a lot of things that we need to move forward and address, whether it's tax structure, annual leave, rebate, or the community chest funds. What I want to propose is May 14th to ask our team to reserve this day and do a follow-up on action that needs to be made. I do know that in the executive branch, we have a lot of work that needs to be.
Last night, Governor's office tells KUAM that 71 people were tested on Monday with first responders and some medical workers. An additional 153 residents were tested yesterday. That brings it to a total of 224 tests so far for both Monday and Tuesday's process on Saipan. And again, as a reminder to the community, step one, if you're requesting a test on Saipan, is to register online or over the phone. The NMI Governor's Office tells KUAM that the drive-through testing appointments are scheduled from Monday to Sunday, 7:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. They're preparing to roll out plans for community-based testing on Rhoda and Tinian. Also, the NMI Congressman Kilili Sablan and Delegate Michael St. just held a joint conversation with Representative Raul Grijalva, talking about relief for the territories and why the federal government must not abandon them. Also, in developing news, flights are planned to resume between Guam and the NMI in the next month, and mandatory quarantine is still in place. And so some community members are asking, how much is the government paying for the hotels and who exactly is paying for it? The NMI Governor's Office telling KUAM that the task force is making adjustments because, as you know, they're currently using the terminals for community-based testing. So, Chris and Bree, that's the latest here in the CNMI.
I think you missed something. I'm just kidding.
Ooh, wow, Bree got jokes. I was like, oh, what did you miss?
So you listened in on the discussions that were happening. Were the media allowed to ask any questions, or it was just here we are and listen to us and what we have to say type of thing?
Yeah, so the federal coronavirus response roundtable was held, chaired by Grijalva, Vice Chair Guguro Sablan, and then Representative Michael St. It was about an hour and 30 minutes long. It just finished a few seconds ago, actually. And so we had, for the region, the CEO of the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation, Esther Muña, talking about the efforts that have been rolled out. She provided some new numbers that I thought were really great to mention about the response in the NMI. She said that so far the NMI has screened more than 500 walk-in patients for COVID-19 symptoms, screened 1,500 passengers at the airport, and traced 250 contacts of positive cases. So these are new figures that were revealed at this virtual town hall hosted by the Natural Resources Committee. Dr. Tom Shea, representing his clinic, talking about the response here in Guam, echoing his concerns and his plea for the Navy to help with Guam's public testing capability. He reiterates again that there is a lack of medical staff on the island and that the key is to reopen. Delegate Michael Nicholas, in his remarks, really driving home the point of the need for oversight on the federal funds that are being allocated to the territories. He called out the governor specifically asking for more transparency from the Magahaga on Guam, and all the other territories also sharing that overwhelming call for transparency as federal funds continue to pour into the local government. That was the main theme that I noticed in the hour and 30. All the territorial governments and health professionals asking for that transparency with the funds.
Interesting. How bad was the call out? You know, Mike Nicholas call out 1 to 10.
You know, it was interesting. You know, on a scale of 1 to 10.
Right.
I mean, is anything really below a 10 with this type of call out? But I think that the frustration was shared in terms of money pouring in, but and especially with the medical professionals, all of them, you know, we also had for the U.S. Virgin Islands, the Department of Health for American Samoa, we had a Medicaid representative, and then some advocates from Puerto Rico. All of them saying that medical professionals continue to not have the armor they need for this fight. And so I thought that was a resounding call from the medical professionals on this, and the politicians, you know, holding this virtual roundtable to get the answers they want from people on the ground.
Okay.
Okay.
So what about Dr. Shea? Did he get to talk?
Yes, he spoke for a fair amount with answering questions from Delegate Nicholas. Again, he made that call thinking that because the Navy was able to test, you know, all of their sailors, then there ought to be that shift in response to helping the public community. He also reiterated the need for transparency and, you know, really pushed for all federal relief to be directed for the people of Guam. And again, you know, he said this on the show several times. The key is to reopen because we can't, as he says, base numbers on, you know, larger populations that are not equal to Guam.
You know, I wanted to follow up on something with the governor. He had requested United Airlines to temporarily suspend flights, and that went into effect, I think, on the 5th or something like that. And it was supposed to end, I thought, on the 30th.
Yes, that's tomorrow.
Right. Have you heard? It's tomorrow. Is today the 30th? Oh, tomorrow. What do you mean?
The 30th is today. Oh, that's today. You're right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Is that kind of month, Tomas?
Have you heard anything else from the governor, whether they're going to be resuming flights?
Yeah, and so local media are reporting that the Guam and CNMI flights are going to resume 3 times a week. I believe the report said around May 2nd, you know, and then I reached out to the NMI press secretary asking, you know, obviously, how does this affect the drive-through testing? Because it's currently being done through the airport. And so Kevin Bautista telling me that they're looking at adjustments, possibly moving it to another terminal. And the quarantine still is in effect, and so that's why people are raising some questions about how exactly is this being paid if we start to open these flights, at least between Guam and the NMI. Then what does that look like in terms of having to quarantine every single passenger that has, you know, will come? Mm-hmm. So we're going to get more on that. We're awaiting a response from the Commonwealth Ports Authority to also ask about the flights originating from Asia and when they might have plans to return. We're hearing July now, but there's no official word on that just yet.
Tomas had a comment here. I mean, he kind of already answered it, but let's just get it out here. Ryan, can you ask Tomas, how can one traveling from Guam to Saipan get cleared in Saipan if they've been cleared for COVID in Guam from public health?
That's a good question. I'll get the answer to that. I don't have an official response right now.
Mm-hmm.
The official word is that if your final destination is the NMI, you're going to be quarantined. I haven't heard, I personally have not heard of any exceptions to that, but I will follow up on that for sure.
Yeah, you see how well that works. Hey, I got my Guam clearance right now. You get your dog in the quarantine, boy. But
because I know different jurisdictions have, you know, I mean, I also have plans to possibly go to Guam in the summer, and I'm wondering if I get my test here, will that apply will that be an exception in Guam?
No, we're gonna get you on the Tony Bavelta quarantine stay. You just go one night, the next morning they check you out, and then you out the door.
Wow. Okay, that sounds great, I guess.
Perks,
But
Tomas,
yeah,
perks.
a lot of people turning their attention now. Everyone across is talking about reopening and what that looks like.
Yeah.
And yesterday they tested 153 people through the drive-through testing here. So we're going to continue to monitor those numbers. We know results can take up to 5 days, and so we'll probably have a better picture really next week on what community-based testing means for us.
All right. Thanks, Tomas.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
Wash your hands. Thomas Manglona out in the CNMI. Hey, we're going to take a real quick break, and what a show it has been. But with all the stuff that's going on, all the negativity, all the scandals, all the hotel stays, we're going to end this show on a positive note. If it kills me, we're going to end it on a positive note, okay? So we take a little break and come back with